Welcome to the Mother-Daughter-ish podcast. It's your mama's favorite podcast.
And the podcast your daughter always wanted.
This is Miss Dawn.
And Angelique.
From the 713. Houston, y'all. Get connected and stay connected weekly as new shows debut on Sunday, Wednesday, and please check out our Saturday Out and About showcases.
Enjoy the show. Please subscribe, like, share, comment, and tell every woman on the planet that you know about our show.
Here's our show for today. Hello, mothers and daughters. We have a great show for you today and a wonderful guest. My guest today is Neoshi, and she has a company that does hypnosis, past life regression. We're going to talk about it all. Some of it I don't know anything about, and that is why I have an expert here. Thank you, Neoshi, for coming today.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
You know, we used to, before all of the internet stuff, and I had a show that was on broadcast TV here in Houston, and people used to come from everywhere to be in the studio. And I used to always introduce where they're from. Well, guess what? I'm going to still keep that same flavor and say, we got Neoshi all the way from Atlanta, because I think it's important for people to know what part of the world somebody is from, because, it's just good to know that you can find people from everywhere.
That's
so. I want to go ahead and get started. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Good. So the first thing I want to know is what made you get into the genre of business that you are in? That has always been a question that I ask people because it interests me so much. What makes this person do that as opposed to this, or what made them decide that that's the thing? Like how did you get into the business that you are in?
Okay, so I have to tell the story because I always tell it because
I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
It is significant. And I almost did. Let me say, I almost didn't get into it. But, I'm a clinical and transpersonal hypnotherapist.
Okay.
And never in a million years would I have thought I would be doing this work. Although I've always had interest in psychology and the mind, workings of the mind. And I'm a very analytical person. That person who, like, when everybody else is mingling, I'm just sitting down watching and analyzing and filling out the energy of the room and, just observing everything. So
yes.
I guess you could say my journey to this work kind of pretty much started when I was about 5. I grew up in the church, of course, very, say Baptist, Pentecostal, that whole holiness aspect. And we would go to my cousin's father's church, and they get down in that church. He still has that church, in fact, but they get down in that church. And, I would watch my aunts and everyone, catch the Holy Ghost, speak in tongues and all these things of that nature. And one day, observing them and just, I think it, it's like sometimes you can see something and observe something, but not really take an interest in it too much.
Right.
But one day it just kind of clicked, and I was like, watching them speak in tongues, test the Holy Ghost, all these other things. And I'm like, I wonder how they're doing that. Like, I want to be able to do that. How they do that. Like, it's having like a really sincere, like really strong interest to want to experience that. Like, I want to experience that.
Right.
5-year-old little me. Right. And, so I, watched them. And then I'm like, one day I'm like, well, maybe they just kind of faking it. Maybe that's how it starts off.
Yeah.
And then it kind of happens from there, right? This is my 5-year-old, my 5-year-old brain trying to comprehend things. And so I said, okay, so I'm going to do that because I want to feel that. I want to experience that because they're definitely feeling something, experiencing something. I know they talk about being God. God, I know is, source. I know God is our creator. I go, so I want to experience that. I want to have that connection.
Right.
So like, okay, well, let me try that. Let me try faking it, because that's probably what's happening. And yeah, we make this happen. So I go up there and I start, excuse me, I start hooting and hollering, and faking a child, and kept like I don't call it the Holy Ghost, and then I throw myself to the ground, and they kind of laid a little white cloth over you, because I'm wearing a dress, of course.
Right,
and,
right. That little prayer cloth.
Yes, and I'm laying there, and I'm thinking, this ain't it.
It's like, wait a minute, that was real fake, and I'm not getting the residual that I saw. Yeah.
This ain't it, because it's not working. I don't think they fake. It can be fake, because I don't feel nothing. So from that age, I've always had that desire to know source, to know God, to connect, have that connection. I've always known, even from that age, which is funny, I don't even know how I knew, but I just kind of always had this knowing that, I was here to do something great, and it would have to do with, my purpose, and something that's connected to spirit, and you know what I mean?
Right.
So, throughout years, growing up, getting into other different, or learning about other different religions and things of that nature, and nothing really clicked, nothing really clicked. Even throughout, college, etc.
Right.
And it wasn't until, later in my life, after I had children, and after I've had my whole come to Jesus moment, where I was talking about, breaking down, because I was at a moment in my life, a point in my life, even where I had been through and, had started another business which is really my first business that was helping me make a ton of money, which I kind of accidentally stumbled upon. But I still wasn't happy. And so I had my whole come to Jesus moment of like, just show me what to do. Like, I need to know what to do, like help me. Because I knew I wasn't living in my purpose. I knew I wasn't living what I was supposed to be doing.
Just had that feeling, huh?
You just know it. And I just wanted it. And I was like, yeah, this money is great. I'm making 6 figures a year in my business, but this ain't it. This ain't it. And I gave it up. And I was just sitting there crying, snot nose. I'm talking about everything, child. I was, and that's what I call my come to Jesus moment. And I remember hearing, a voice saying like, like, don't worry, like you're almost there. Keep going.
Right.
You're almost there. And when I look back, I'm grateful for that whole journey, because at that moment, I wasn't ready for the work that I'm doing right now. I wasn't ready for that. I was nowhere near ready for that. I had so much more healing I had to do, so much more self-love and self-care I had to do for myself. I was growing in my gifts. I was growing in so many areas that nowhere in hell I would have been able to do this work in the way that I do it, as effectively as I do it at that time.
Right.
So,
at least you didn't back off and say, never mind, because a lot of people get right to that and then they stop. I remember a guy named Greg wrote a book called 3 Feet from Gold. And he was like, a lot of people get right to the point, because we don't know what's on the other side. But until you take a couple of more faith steps, you're never going to know. Most people give up. So, I mean, it's a great thing that you didn't just say, forget this, because I don't know the tools to take the next steps.
Right, exactly.
All right.
And I remember just along the way, having other tools and things being put in front of me. And ultimately, it came down to my husband, like after I stumbled upon the work, like I was so fascinated with the work that I would literally like be like engulfed in it, morning, noon, night. I mean, for months.
Right.
And, my husband at one point was like, "You'll be great at this. Like, why don't you?" And I'm like, I don't know, because my parents might look at me like I'm crazy, because we're talking about I'm thinking my parents gonna disown me because, again, remember, I grew up in the church. My parents are still much Christian, although their journey actually has changed a lot. There's a lot of things that they would do that's regular or commonplace in the Christian religion that they don't subscribe to anymore. Things like celebrating Christmas, Thanksgiving, all those things like that. And so I always say that to say everybody got their own journey, let them have their journey. Me and thinking that my parents are gonna disown me because the type of work we're talking about is talking about past life regressions, helping people see their past lives, helping them go into hypnosis, spirit attachment.
Had you had it done for yourself?
At that moment, no, I hadn't.
Oh wow! So you really started from scratch. Like, I've never had it done, but I know I can do it. Now that's different. Okay.
Yeah, at that moment I hadn't. No, it wasn't until after I started doing the work that I'll say just before I started doing the work that I had my own first session.
Okay.
Excuse me. But yeah, I literally was like so much fearful. Like, I was like, I don't know, my parents, I don't know about that. My parents, they might disown me after this because, you know, anything having to do with spirits, they're gonna reject it. I already know, you know how it goes. Yeah. And so I slept on it, and spirit was like, they will be all right. They like, you need to do what you need to do.
You got to live your life for you and not worry about what everybody else. You got to say, I got to do this for that's right.
Exactly. And I took a leap of faith, said, okay, do this. And I told them, you know, still being a grown ass woman in my 30s, I was still afraid. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. And I told them about it. And they were, of course, like, girl, you mess with these spirits, be careful, you know, all that type of stuff. But I've gone from that response to my parents, especially my mom now, just sharing all my work with everyone, all of her friends.
Wow. So in the end, you ended up getting the support that you thought you were going to be you thought you were going to be banned from the family reunions.
Yeah. But listen, the ultimate like wow moment for me was my father, like,
right,
I want to have a session. So I'm like, word, you know. So that for me was like, all right. Like,
and how long ago was that?
This was maybe a year and a half ago.
Okay. What you said, I'm gonna go for it, and you did it. So I have to admit that I don't know. I know what the meaning of it is. I've seen people do it and talk about it on TV, but I have to admit that I don't really know how it works when people do past life regression. I've seen, of course, people be hypnotized. I've never personally been hypnotized, but I've seen people say it worked for weight loss. It worked for them to stop smoking. It worked for them to work out their childhood issues. I've seen people say many, many things. So let's start with the past life regression. How does that work? And the typical person that would come to you, what is their end result they're looking for? To resolve something or to have a connection? What is it?
Let me say this. I've been doing this for over 3 years now, and every single session is different because people come for different reasons. They have different, although some of them might be similar situations. Everybody's reasoning and their past, all of that, their purpose, their path, things that they have to do in this life. It's all different. Yeah. And so,
but in the end, it's all the same because it's all healing, right?
Yeah, it's all releasing, all healing, all of that. Yes, all. And in the sessions, I have 3 different types of sessions, but my most popular session is my signature session, and that's the one that you see in all my YouTube videos. Session we do shadow work. So a lot of times people think that, you know, they found out about my past life videos, and they like, you know, they're just supposed to, oh, okay, they think that this is gonna lives, and it's like, no, we gonna do some shadow work too.
Right.
Healing. If it comes up, we gonna deal with it.
Okay. And, okay, I like that.
Yes, and so yeah, we a lot of times, most often we start off with the shadow work and inner child healing, and attacking whatever issues, healing whatever issues that come up, and then we do past regression. It's always a life that's affecting your life that you live in a day, because a lot of people think that you know, your past lives aren't affect you. Oh, that's done. That's in the past. No, that shit you can bring you can bring, I'm sorry, I don't know if I can curse, I'm sorry. I got a potty mouth. You bring repeating patterns from past lives into this life, and you keep repeating it, and then realize what you're doing and you understand why it's happening, you're going to keep repeating it.
And now, just to be clear, when we say past lives, we're talking about the life our soul lived before the life we live now. So we could be talking about our life from 1542.
Exactly.
Or our life from 1830 or whatever.
Yeah. Or
okay. And that's the part I think people, they don't understand what you mean by that, because, you know, if your soul is going to be from different, you know, places, but our dreams reveal so many things. Our soul reveals so many things to us, our mind. And there's a reason why we think of the things that we think. They don't just pop up all of a sudden. When you see something that's just so vivid, you're like, how would I have known that? Why do I know that? But so you put them under hypnosis and then they can recall from there. Is that how it works?
Pretty much. Short, the long story short, yeah.
Right. Yeah, because I know, I'm pretty sure there's step, but you know.
Yeah, they go into hypnosis and we access conscious mind, which is basically us getting to the root cause. Accessing the subconscious mind allows us to get to the memories from you know, past lives, this lives. But we're focused on the root cause of the issues. So past lives that you're shown, it will be, as always, directly related to what they're going through in life at that moment. And a lot of times it's already what they're talking about, like what they want to, you know, heal. And then as well as, you know, whatever childhood issues they have, you get to the root cause of it and help them through that as well.
Okay. So let me ask you, do you think, from your discovery of yourself and the work that you do you think that in your past life you were doing this same type of work?
Oh, I know for sure. My guys have showed me that so many times. They've given me so many confirmation. They told me this plenty of time, like, girl, you've been doing this for so many.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, this is
you stepped right into the purpose you've always had, but you just discovered.
Yeah, which is probably why I've known since 5, like I would be doing
right, because who else at 5 would know? It's just that you had to figure out, okay, it's not that, but it's actually this, which that led to this. Because that's funny how people don't understand that they may go on this path of, I think I want to do this, this, and this. And then in the end, everything that they went through to get there was really the other thing they were supposed to be doing. I think when you pay attention to your life and you see that, it makes more sense. But when you just kind of coast through life and you don't pay attention, it won't make sense to you. I want to know about these parties that you do and how that works.
So the past life parties are really, really popular. Every time I have them, they sell out really quickly. It's basically,
what's the maximum people you'll allow?
It differs from time to time. It sometimes, you know, it can be up. Well, I haven't done any more than 50. Let's just say that.
Okay, because I was gonna say 100 people would be kind of like.
Yeah, I might do. I usually do a lot less than that, but I don't always no more than 50. Just because the energy that it takes.
That's what I'm thinking about, that energy transfer. Okay.
So the parties basically is a group past life regression where everybody goes into hypnosis at the same time.
Oh.
You visit 2 of their past lives, the life in between lives, and 5, 10, and 20 years into the future. Now
you must have a team that does this with you.
This is
so you literally can have a room of 50 people and put 50 people into hypnosis.
I could do a lot more than that, but I won't.
That's power. That's power. That's power. That's power. And I'm going to tell you why I say that's power, because I am, and I know you've heard this before, but I'm one of those people who I don't feel like I could be put under hypnosis. I don't think you could do it. No, not you specifically, but I just mean nobody walking on planet Earth. Now, them little aliens come down, something might happen. But I'm that girl that says that, and probably be the first one.
I was gonna say that it'll be the first one.
First one, like, okay, you know, and I laugh about it because it's probably true because I've never tried it. So that's why I make a joke about it, because I'm like, you know, you don't know something until you try it. Like everything I've ever done in business or in personal, I never knew it until I tried it. And I could either say, yes, that works, or no, that doesn't. So that's why I make that joke. But so with your parties, everybody goes into hypnosis all at one time, and then you do your work from there.
Exactly.
Wonderful. That's now, do you travel and do it, or do you only do it in Atlanta?
So the parties are on Zoom, but I had someone here in Atlanta I met who wants me to do one locally, like in person. So we're still working on that, working out the kinks. So we'll see. Maybe I might do one here in Atlanta soon.
So it's done. It can be done on Zoom?
Yeah, all of them I've done so far. Well, not all of them. Most of them have been on Zoom.
And do you record it?
Yeah, I do.
Because I was going to say, girl, that's be the only way I believe you would tell me, girl, you was the first one to go. That would be the only way I believe. Tell me about your book.
Okay. So my book was before I even got into this work. Excuse me. My book was during a time in my life where I was still searching for my purpose, right. But I was closer, and I knew a part of who I was supposed to serve. I knew part of how I was supposed to help them, but it just wasn't fully laid out for me. It wasn't fully clear because I still had a lot of work to do. Mm-hmm. So my book is called Black Mom Magic: How to Use What You Got to Get What You Want.
I love that. I was like, man, I wish I would have known about the book before we set it up. She could have sent me the book, and I love to read. I've written 28 books myself, but I love to read. Whenever I have somebody on and I can, reference things from their books, it really gets the audience motivated so they can get a copy of the book. Because usually when I know you got a book, I make sure. When I was going on your Instagram page, I was like, oh my God, she has a book, and I love the title. So tell me what made you write that book and about that book.
So at that moment, I had started a magazine called Million Moms in Action. Mm-hmm. Basically a magazine to help Black moms, help them out with their balancing the life of being a mom and then still living out their purpose.
Right. Amen.
That was a big part of at that point in my life where I was trying to figure it out, trying to find my purpose, trying to live my purpose.
While raising your kids.
While raising, not losing myself and trying to make it work. Because sometimes, you get to a point where it's like, kind of let yourself and everything else to go around you because you just jump mommy mode.
Right.
And Spirit led me to a point in life where I had, started to find what worked for me and resources and tools, and help me figure out how to begin, how to do that, how to walk that path of finding that while still doing what I needed to do and what I was put on this earth to do. And so the book is really about helping you understand the resources that are at your disposal, helping you find and discover, understand what resources you need and how to use them to get what you want. So balancing everything and still getting what you need to get done. Mm-hmm. And so that was a big accomplishment for me at that time, because I had said as well, like, I want to write a book to help other women so they know how I'm doing it. And the funny is, even within that book, there was still so many different spiritual resources within there, because that was always a big part of me.
Right.
And so the book was really great. It still is really great. And sometimes I forget that until somebody's like, oh, your book. And I'm like, oh yeah, I did write the book about that.
It's one of those questions that, once you become an author and you mark that off your list, you kind of put it to the side. You don't worry about it. You're not excited. You're excited that you've done it, but like that pressure is off of you. Because I know I'll have people say, oh, what books? When they say, have you ever written a book? And I go, yeah, I've written 28 books. They go, oh, what books have you written? I go like, oh my God, you're going to ask me the title off. I just go to Amazon and type in my name and they'll all come up. Because it's like, I want to go because I write books depending on where I am at that time. If I want to write about this, I write about this. If I want to write that, I write. So it just really depends. I'm really working on right now putting ladies together where we can do a compilation series where we can talk about just exactly what you're talking about, our divine magic. And I just feel like we just have so many things, and with us being parents, and with us having our own businesses, and with us having like this real connection to what we're supposed to really be doing. Like everybody could just say, I'm going to start a t-shirt company and I'm going to start this business. But how much passion did you really have for that? Or was that one of those, I know I can make money off of a thing? And I'm one of those people that I don't worry about that part because I know anything I do, I can make money off of or earn money off of. What I want is that thing that lights me up, that makes me get up every day, that says we're going to do this thing, and that I can be my happy self every day. And I can tell from the work that you do, the way you speak about it, that that's the thing that lights you up as well. So that's really, really exciting to hear that from you.
Yeah, it is. And I always say, you know, for those people who are still trying to find what it is that makes you light up like that and find your purpose, put you on that path. Just trust the process, because it really is a journey.
Yes.
If you haven't at this point, it's for a reason. There's some more work needs to be done. There's some more healing that needs to be done. Possibly, yeah, all in divine timing. But just trust the steps, trust the what spirit tells you. Because a lot of times we'll be told something by spirit and we ignore it or we doubt it. And so that stagnates us on our path. And you get there,
and you know, a big thing is, especially when you're a solopreneur, and let's just say you're starting this business on your own, I think it's so important, the things that you tell yourself and the things that you let, you know, come into yours. Like on my phone, every morning I have an alarm at like about 5 a.m. I'm already up at 3, but at 5 a.m. I have a thing that says, remember, you're connected to spirit. That's been on my phone for probably 14 years now. And when I got a new phone, I thought, let me go back through and look at all of these messages. Do I need all of these reminders all day long? And I had to sit back and say, so you say you talk about shadow work, I have to do mirror work. Now, girl, you know, you hard-headed and you know you need the reminders every day. So I have to tell myself that, because sometimes I don't think I need that on my phone anymore. Let me go. No, keep it on your phone, because you know you're hard-headed, and every now and then people get comfortable. Get comfortable and are like, oh, I already know that. No, I want to see that reminder every single morning that I am up, that I can say, oh, remember, you're connected to spirit. And there's not a time that I don't literally read it out loud. I don't care where I am, what I'm doing. I read it out loud, because I don't want to be so hard-headed that I think I'm above knowing that every single day.
Right.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
So tell me, where are you going with this business? It's still pretty new, so that means you got a lot more exploring to do. What kind of new discoveries are pouring into you that you're like, oh, I can add this to something that I do that'll help them with healing? Tell me all about it.
So it's funny, because when I talk to people about it being a business, I really don't look at it like a business. But Spirit at one point, Spirit was like, excuse my language, bitch, you need to, because that's what it is at this point. You want to be able to do this work. We need you to do this work in a way that's right. To devote yourself to it. You got to treat it as a business, because you're going to need to be able to financially support yourself while you're doing that, along with your family, without having to worry about shit. So, it's a business. I understand you don't look at it like that, but you know, so when people start talking about, oh, you know, your business, and I was like, yeah, I'm kind of like, I get like, not really a business, but it is, but okay.
Yeah. I like that little funny thing that they have, see on Instagram every now and then, and it goes, somebody asks them, how's that little business of yours? And they're like, how's that little job of yours? And I'm like, why do people consider, because we're owning our own thing, that it has to be the little thing? Why can't it be the big thing? Why can't it be that wonderful business you have? Why does it have to be that little business? I don't like that little business thing going in there. I mean, it's cute. It's cute if you're just having a general conversation, but if you're trying to be sarcastic to me, I'm gonna hit you back. I'm gonna hit you back with something, because we work so hard, you know?
Yeah, that's
hard and smart at the same time.
That's so true.
Yes.
But to answer the question, I'm actually working on a book, because everybody's asking me, you write a book? So I said, okay, I'm gonna have to put it out there. I am gonna put a book out, but I can't give you a time frame right now, because I got so much going on.
What's the working title that you have so far? No. Okay. Yeah. And that's so crazy, because I'm the same way. Like until I have it, if it's on Amazon and up and ready and it's brand new, but it's coming out in 2 weeks, then I'll say what it is. Because I know me. Yeah. At the very last moment, I could change my mind and change the title. I know that. I did that with my last daughter. She's 21 now, but all the time I was pregnant, I said, this baby name is going to be Savannah. I'm going to name her Savannah. I had somebody in my family named Savannah. I'm naming her Savannah. 2 weeks before she was born, I had a dream. And in my dream, it said, her name is supposed to be Paiton. Now you can spell it however you want to, but her name is supposed to be Paiton. And I was like, I don't know nobody named Paiton. What do you mean? I don't know any girls named Paiton. I know Peyton Manning, and I don't even know football, but I know that. And I'm sitting up here arguing with the spirit, right? And I woke up that next morning and I started writing down different iterations of Peyton, and I came up with Paiton. That was her name 2 weeks before, but the whole 9 months it was going to be Savannah. I tell her that story all the time because I'm like, don't be so married to this thing is what it is, because that thing that you think it is can be another thing that it is.
Yes, and our children always choose their names. The children always choose their names.
I keep telling her, she even chose me as her parent, and she keeps saying no. And I keep saying, I don't know how to break that down to you, but you chose me. And what I explained to them, because she says, well, but you're the mom, you're supposed to. And I go, look, I'm not just a mom. That's just a word that was made up, but I'm just here to manage you until you can go off and do your own thing. So whatever I tell you, if it's something you don't want to do, don't worry about it, because I said you should do this, you should do that. Do what you want to do. And then you'll figure out, was that the right thing, or was that not the right thing, or what is the right thing for you to do? So I keep telling her, I'm like, you chose me, so it's your fault. I use that a lot, by the way.
That's funny. It's funny you say that, because about changing the name last minute. I had pretty much a very similar experience when it came to the name of my book. And I literally woke up in the middle of the night, maybe 3, 4 in the morning. I had a spirit came to me in my sleep. Like, this is the name. And
when it's so plain, it doesn't even scare you. When it's so plain and so clear, it doesn't, you may question it or whatever you're gonna do. But when it was that plain, her name is supposed to be Paiton. And I'm like, but why? I don't know anybody named Paiton. We don't have any Paitons in our family. Maybe that's the reason, because we don't have any Paitons in our family. It's like, that's what her name's supposed to be. And I literally was looking at the name Savannah and going, but this is what I wanted. I went ahead and went with what Spirit said to do, because I know that was going to be what I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
Instead of fighting it like I could have, since I already had it written down on paper. I already knew what the middle name was going to be, because I named her after a town where my mom has family, Alexandria, Louisiana. So her middle name is Alexandria. So I knew that was not going to change. But that shocked me 2 weeks before, because, when you have your mind made up, sometimes you can be a little hard. I told you I'm hard-headed. So, but I decided to acquiesce and not be so stiff on it, and I'm glad I did that. Well, Neoshi, tell everybody where they can find you, not just online, but where they can find your book, and then also if you have a www website, so that we can find you there, because I would love for maybe some people to put a party together, and guess what? You just might find yourself in Houston.
Well, at the moment, you can find me on my website, neoshihipno.com. That's NEOSHI, hypno, HYPNO.com.
Okay.
I got, from the last party that I did, I got a really a large request. A lot of people DMing me a lot of requests to do another party sooner than I really wanted to. Oh,
you try to do like a in between, because I know that's a lot of energy that you're putting out. So I can imagine when you're done, you got to relax and wind down. So what is typically the time frame in between? You try to wait like a month or two or so?
Actually, I'd be 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, but I was going to say 3 months, and then my mind said maybe that's too long. But 3 months makes sense. 90 days. Yeah.
Yeah, but so they twisted my arm. Let's just say that. So I was like, all right, cool. So I just kind of announced on my Instagram page that I'm having another one on July 24th.
Yeah.
So that will be about a month from today. That one, again, seats are extremely limited. It's gonna be a lot less than 50, but I definitely don't do more than 50. But you can find information on that on my YouTube, not my YouTube. Well, yeah, right on my YouTube and my Instagram at Hypno Soul Healing. Be careful though, because I just within the past few days, 2 scammer pages went up again. So there's more.
Yeah, and so your Instagram and your YouTube and your website all has your name in it. _hypnosis or hypno.
Well, yeah, but on IG they'll have a very similar spelling. So
I know. So in your bio, did you put "this is my only page"? Because they're getting so rough with it now. They take your picture and say it's them and put messages out every day and then DM people and say, hey, I've got this going on. If you want a special, send the $29. I mean, in the last week, I saw yours. And in the last week, I had 3 other women who said the same thing. Make sure don't purchase anything. And I don't DM people asking for money. And I was like, oh, I know, I get it. I get that they do that. And I'm thinking, I hope that never happens to us, because I just can't believe that people do that. But you know, if that happens to anybody who's listening here, if you get something like that, always go back to the original person and let them know that that's happening, because sometimes those things happen and we don't even know it's happening behind the scenes until somebody tells us, hey, there's a fake page out here with your name on it, which is so, like, if they could take that energy and put it into their own thing, they could be so successful instead of doing all the shenanigans they're doing with this other stuff, right?
Yeah, and as a word, you talked about putting, this is my only page, I don't DM. They put that too.
They don't even care, huh?
So be careful about that.
And you know, and it's not as easy to get verified either. So it's like, you can't say, well, then won't you just go get verified? It's like, it's not that easy. I mean, you can have, you know, 1 million people following you and they can all be verified, 1 million people. Because I know somebody right now who has about 172,000 people following them. And when you go through, they're all real people. And Instagram said when she sent over her driver's license that they couldn't verify that her driver's license wasn't authentic. What?
Yeah, child.
What? So it's really weird, but anyway. Well, I have really appreciated you educating me on what you do for a business. I want to say congratulations with your business, because I love the fact that you're doing exactly what you want to do. You know, there's just sometimes in life we have to do what we need to do for us. And we have to bring out that part of us, even if the world does not agree with it. We have to bring out that part of us that lets us feel free. And just, I just have to say the word freedom, because I know that's what entrepreneurship has done for me for the last 25 years, is it has offered me freedom and access that has never been known to me. So I want to say congratulations to you for also being that type of entrepreneur. And we'll be looking for that new book to come. Is one thing you want to leave us with, Neoshi? Because I love what you said earlier about figuring out what it is that you want to do. Because some people, they don't take the time to figure it out. They just kind of jump on the bandwagon of what every other person is doing.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, just, you know, always, I got to talk about, just always trust spirit, and always trust yourself.
Absolutely, I love that.
That's the biggest part of what holds us back a lot. So,
and that's the part that scares some people, because they don't know if it's themselves talking to themselves, or they don't know when to hear the voice of spirit. Oh, let me ask you one last question, because that's very important. And in the work that you do you give people the techniques and tools and the that they need to know when spirit is speaking to them? Because I've heard so many people say, I don't know the voice that I'm looking for, or the feeling I'm supposed to have, or if it's just me tricking myself. And I know that's a trust thing, because you got to trust that. Yeah. So that's that first. But do you give people techniques and tools to know when they know that they know that they know?
So I don't directly give it to them, but during my sessions, we connect with spirit guides, ancestors, whoever comes through, and they'll ask a lot of times. They don't want to know, like, how do I know? Right. How do I connect with spirit guides? How do I connect with ancestors? How do I know when it's me versus you? How do I hear you more clearly? And spirit will answer those questions for them. They get the answers directly from spirit, or they'll get their answers directly from their guides. So, you know, that's one of the questions that they usually ask. One of the most common questions, because we do a whole part of the session where they get to ask about 15 questions or whatever it is. Ooh, that they
that's do. Good. 15, that's good.
Yeah, anything, so any area of life about what they're going through, right, whether it be, you know, like, what's my purpose in life? What career?
That's a big question right there. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, relationship questions or issues, or even physical issues that they're having, or even unexplained issues that they're dealing with, whether it be physical pain, et cetera, any and everything, whether it be, you know, dreams that they keep having and they don't understand why I keep having this dream.
Ooh, these dreams, let me tell you, these dreams be something. And when I have some of the same dreams over and over, 2 or 3 years apart, but it's exactly the same dream, it is crazy to me. I was just telling my mom, I guess probably last year, I was telling her, I said, you know, I keep dreaming about my cousin. I said, and every time I dream about her, she's always trying to tell me something, but I never get to the end of the dream. Now, she died in 2011. And I'm like, why is it that she keeps showing up in my dream exactly the way I remember her? And she's always trying to tell me something, but we're so busy having fun and doing stuff and doing what we used to do that she never gets to tell me what she's trying to tell me. But she hasn't showed up in my dream now in over maybe 6 months, but there was a time where every other week she come to try to tell me something. And I didn't worry about it. I didn't bother about it. And I didn't get excited about it. I just said, whenever I'm supposed to know, I'll know. Mm-hmm. You know, I didn't let it get me nerved up. Mm-hmm. But I did tell her, I did tell her in my dream, I'm not ready to come where you are. I did tell her. I said, I am not ready. We had a lot of fun, baby, since we were 2 and 3, 5, but I'm not ready to come where you are. So I hope that ain't what you're trying to tell me that. So I laughed about it and I moved on. And I said, you know, whenever it's time for her to tell me what she's supposed to tell me, she'll be there to tell me. But it's just so interesting that she keeps trying to tell me something.
Because she thinks you're not getting it, maybe you're not understanding it.
I know for a fact I'm not, because I haven't gotten the message. All I see is her. She's trying to tell me something. We're doing stuff. We're having a great time. And then all of a sudden I wake up and I can tell you every single thing that I can tell you, down to the shoes we had on, because my dreams are very vivid. They are. When I tell you vivid, they are vivid. I have had my wedding, and I've been married before. I'm divorced, but I've had my wedding. Whoever I'm going to marry next, I've had that same wedding 1,000 times. The same man, the same outfits, the same location, the same ring, the same proposal. I've had it 1,000 times.
Wow.
That's crazy, right? Well, Neoshi, you have been absolutely a delight. I know that the ladies and guys that you're working with, I know that they are getting everything that they need, because you are a person who is, passionate about what you're doing. And I want to thank you for coming on to the Mother Daughter Ish show, because, we really created a show here that we wanted it to focus on women, but not just women, but women who have daughters as well, so that we can be the vessel to help them to understand those things that we've already gone through. And it doesn't matter if they're little kids or if they're teenagers or they're adults. For me, I have adult daughters. So that's what we wanted to create, a podcast that really could support the ideas and the motivation for every woman on this planet. And so I thank you for being a part of that, because we're educating those who have never heard of you before. They don't know. I have people stumble across our podcast all the time and they go, I never knew you. I'm in Houston too. I do a podcast. And I'm like, what? So I really have been in my mind thinking, we, all of us podcasters here in Houston, we need to kind of get together or something, but everybody's doing their own thing. And not every person is, fortunate enough to have their own business where they're doing their own thing, working from home and have a podcast. But I just thank you for being here on the show. I'm sure you go on a lot of different interviews, and I hope that this one has been great for you, because you have been great for me. And I appreciate it. All right. Well, thank you, mothers and daughters, for looking and listening to the show. For those of you that are listening on audio, we appreciate it. Please make sure you get over to YouTube and you see the visual so you can see Neoshi's beautiful face. And that's going to be at Mother Daughter Ish. And make sure you definitely join us over on Instagram. We got a lot of great things coming up to introduce to you, especially when the interviews come out and everything. And that's Mother Daughter Ish with _. And again, if you'd like to support our podcast in another type of way, our Cash App is $MDI podcast. And that is our show for today. And we are so grateful that Miss Neoshi graced us all the way from Atlanta.
Thank
you, Neoshi.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, it's Miss Dawn. You wondering how you can support our show, Mother Daughter Ish? We have Cash App, we have PayPal, and we do have Vimeo. Support our show so that we can reach out to more women. Our goal is to reach and build a community of 1 million women. Why don't you come on and help us do that?